how to work alongside colleagues from the startup nation. Our Asher Westropp-Evans takes a deep dive into the Israeli business community to see what it is that makes these innovators tick.
Israelis. Tough, informal, pushy, direct. Often seen as difficult colleagues, Israelis are marked by many outsiders as hard to work alongside. So, in order to crack the code of working with Israelis, I-24 News sat down with the woman who, quite literally, wrote the book.
Israel is a melting pot. It's a melting pot of, I can say, for courage souls, mainly Israelis or people that decided to come to Israel. They took risk. I mean, they came here to Israel 60, 70 years ago, and they built something out of nothing.
Yet, despite this thorny reputation, Israeli businesses continue to take bigger steps into a globalized world.
The Israelis, they're not aware of how much other people perceive them. Meaning that the next step is to actually educate Israelis how to work in global companies or with other people.
And one company believes that they have cracked the code for communicating across cultures.
From the beginning, we've created this very multicultural approach that we are used to work with so many nations.
Moovit, Israeli developers of a free public transit app that works in 2,600 cities and employs workers from across the globe, each of whom has to adjust to the Israeli style.
Each of us coming from a different culture has different backgrounds, and even some gestures mean something in one country and something differently in another country. Here in Israel means wait, and in Italy or in Argentina, it's an aggressive way to say, what do you mean?
And so the company is tackling business communication from the ground up.
We knew from the beginning that communication and teamwork is going to be critical for the success.
And the workers are on board with the message.
One of our values is open communication. So it starts, like I said, from the CEO all the way down. We communicate.
But not all is about learning to deal with pushy Israelis. For this informal culture has something to teach about flat, hierarchical communication.
I mean, you can communicate with your manager. You don't need to make it, too complicated. Being informal in the Israeli culture, I think it's amazing.
While Israelis are still figuring out their place in a globalized market, perhaps they can teach us all to be a little tough. Asher Westropp-Evans, I-24 News.
All right, our next guest you just saw in this report, she's written one of the Amazon bestsellers, Israel Business Culture, the first practical guide in English offering intercultural communication skills to optimize success. Please welcome Osnat Lautman to the show. Hello, Osnat, and thank you for this great resource. It's going to help me as well as someone living in America. Of all of the years you've worked with global companies, what would you say is the main thing that you found that separates Israelis from other cultures?
So what I did that in the last decade, I interviewed 350 people from all over the world, and I asked them to share their experience working with Israelis. So from those interviews and from my vast experience working in global companies, I built a model that described the Israeli business culture in a way that I took the word Israeli and I used it as an acronym.
So what are the words that go with the acronym?
So we have I for informal, S straightforward, R risk-taking, A ambitious, E entrepreneurial, L loud, and the last I is improvisational.
Listen, check, 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 check. And listen, these are all positive skills for success. Right. Why would you say other cultures misinterpret the intentions, of Israelis?
There are some challenges for non-Israelis working with Israelis, mainly the two I. So we have the first I, informal, that it's not only in the way we dress, but also the way we communicate with one another. And it's mainly about hierarchy. It's what you can tell your manager. If you can do it in closed door, or you can do it only with, one-on-one or with other people. And then the last I is improvisational, because for non-Israelis, they have a clear process and work plan. And we Israelis, we used to rapid change all the time.
Right,
and
right.
It's quite
and that's
a
part
challenge.
Of growing up in a place where, fighting for its survival. And I think as an American, that is one of the main differences. Like if you want to do a business, the culture business plan, minimize risk, projections, where Israelis are like, let's go for it. Is that implanted also just in the family structure of being here, where entrepreneurialism is encouraged?
That's true. So we have it all the time. That's the, the objective circumstance sense of being an Israeli. I mean, in the army, in the IDF, and everything. So I mean, it's part of who we are.
And what can Israelis do to be a little bit more mindful of who they're dealing with abroad?
Oh, that's a unique question. The Israelis, first of all, they need to understand our aggressiveness, their directness is appeared by others, and maybe try to be more diplomatic and approach people.
To know your audience,
right, you don't have to tell them, listen, you're wrong. You don't have to be aggressive in a way. You can tell them.
We take it very personally.
I know.
Our feelings get hurt. Well, anyway, thank you very much. And her book is available on Amazon, a bestseller of the first edition. Now the second edition is out.